Hi, I'm Gwen. After 30 years of teaching high school English, I thought I'd developed a thick skin. Teenagers can be brutal with their comments, but nothing prepared me for what happened at my own dinner table last Friday night. Mom, you won't believe who I ran into today, my daughter Amber said, twirling pasta around her fork. She'd invited her boyfriend Marcus and her best friend Diane over for our monthly family dinner. Who's that, sweetie? I asked, passing the garlic bread to Marcus. Mrs. Henderson. Remember her? Your old colleague before she moved to that private school downtown? Of course I remember Catherine. How is she? Amber exchanged glances with Diane, both suppressing smiles. She asked about you. Wanted to know if you were still, what did she call it, fighting the good fight in that outdated cardigan collection. Marcus chuckled, then quickly tried to hide it by taking a drink. Did she really say that? I asked, my hand unconsciously touching the sleeve of my blue cardigan, the one I'd worn to parent-teacher conferences for years. Mom, everyone knows about your cardigans, Amber continued, her voice taking on that performative quality she used when showing off for friends. I mean, the students literally have a bingo card with your different sweaters. Diane's brother had you 3 years ago, and he said nothing's changed. That's not true, Diane added with a smirk. They added Floral Print Friday to the card last semester. The table erupted in laughter, all except me. I sat perfectly still, my fork suspended midair. Amber, that's enough, I said quietly. Oh, come on, Mom. It's just a joke. Besides, Mrs. Henderson said your dedication to consistency was admirable. The way she said consistency made it sound like a terminal illness, Marcus added, and Amber high-fived him across the table. Tell her about the impression you do, Diane urged, nudging Amber. My daughter straightened her posture, pushed imaginary glasses up her nose, and spoke in a nasal voice that was apparently meant to be mine. Class, please turn to page 394 of your literature textbooks. Today we'll be discussing the profound symbolism of curtains in 19th century fiction, a topic I find absolutely fascinating despite teaching it exactly the same way since the actual 19th century. More laughter. I placed my napkin beside my half-eaten dinner and stood up. Mom, where are you going? Amber asked, still smiling. I think I've lost my appetite, I said, my voice steady despite the burning sensation behind my eyes. Mom, seriously? It's just a joke. Don't be so sensitive. I didn't respond. I simply walked out of the dining room, up the stairs, and closed my bedroom door. 20 minutes later, there was a knock. Mom! Amber called through the door. They're gone now. Can we talk? I opened the door and faced my daughter. Not tonight, Amber. I think you've said quite enough. Wow, you're really overreacting. It was just a joke. I know. But jokes are supposed to be funny, not cruel. Especially not in my own home, at my own table, with my own daughter leading the charge. Amber rolled her eyes. Whatever. You're being dramatic. As she turned to leave, I called after her. Amber, I want you to know something. She turned back, eyebrow raised. Actions have consequences. So do words. That's a lesson I've taught for 30 years, and it seems you still need to learn it. Is that a threat? She scoffed. No, I replied calmly. It's a promise. The next morning, I called my friend Leo. As the school's guidance counselor for the past 15 years, he'd seen it all. She actually did an impression of you? Leo asked, his deep voice rising in disbelief. In front of her friends? Complete with the nasal voice and pushing up imaginary glasses, I confirmed, pacing my kitchen. That's beyond disrespectful, Gwen. How are you holding up? I'm hurt, obviously, but mostly I'm disappointed. I raised her better than this. What are you going to do? I sat down at the kitchen island. That's why I called you. I need advice from someone who understands teenagers and consequences. Well, Leo began thoughtfully, this behavior likely isn't isolated. Have you spoken with any of her teachers recently? Not since last semester's parent-teacher night. Why? I've been hearing things, Gwen. Nothing I could officially report to a parent without evidence. but rumors that Amber's group has been particularly harsh towards certain students. My stomach tightened. What kind of rumors? The kind that involve mocking students with learning disabilities, making videos of teachers without consent. The usual mean girl stuff, but more organized, more public. Are you saying my daughter is a bully? The words felt wrong leaving my mouth. I'm saying it might be worth having a conversation with Principal Reynolds. If last night's behavior is part of a pattern, there could be school policy violations involved. After hanging up with Leo, I immediately called Diane's mother, Sandra. We weren't close, but our daughter's friendship had forced occasional interaction over the years. Sandra, it's Gwen, Amber's mom. Gwen, what a surprise. Is everything okay? Actually, no. I'm concerned about something that happened at dinner last night. Diane was there. Oh? Sandra's voice grew cautious. Has Diane mentioned anything about Amber's behavior at school? Any videos or bullying incidents? A long pause followed. I wasn't going to say anything because the girls are friends, but... Sandra hesitated. Diane came home upset last week. She told me Amber and some others were filming their English teacher, Mr. Collins, and adding cruel captions before posting it online. And Diane didn't participate? I asked, trying to keep accusation out of my voice. She claims she didn't, but I'm not naive. I've checked her phone. There's a group chat called Teacher Roast that's... Well, it's not flattering to the faculty. Does Principal Reynolds know about this? Not from me, Sandra replied. But honestly, Gwen, maybe he should. My next call was to Marcus's mother, Teresa, whom I'd met several times at school functions. Teresa, I need to ask you something, and I'd appreciate honesty. Of course, Gwen. What's going on? Has Marcus mentioned anything about videos being made of teachers at school? Specifically mocking videos? Teresa sighed heavily. Yes, he showed me one last month. I confiscated his phone for a week, but apparently that wasn't enough of a deterrent. Was Amber in these videos? She was the one filming most of them, according to Marcus. I thought about calling you, but you thought I already knew. I finished for her. Honestly? Yes. I thanked Teresa and hung up, my teacher instincts kicking in. This wasn't just about me anymore. This was about professional ethics and school policy. I texted Leo, meeting with Reynolds tomorrow morning. Can you be there? His reply came seconds later. Absolutely. 9 a.m. in his office. Already arranged it. Sunday passed in silence. Amber spent the day at Diane's, returning only for dinner, which we ate without speaking. Monday morning, I left early, telling her I had a staff meeting. Principal Reynolds' office was intimidating even for faculty. The man himself, tall, broad-shouldered, with a reputation for fairness tempered with strictness, stood as I entered. Gwen, Leo filled me in on the basics, Reynolds said, gesturing to where Leo already sat. But I'd like to hear directly from you. For the next 15 minutes, I explained everything. The dinner incident, the conversations with Sandra and Teresa, and the alleged videos. We've had reports about these videos, Reynolds confirmed, his expression grim. But nothing concrete enough to take action. Students claimed they were deleted, accounts were private and without evidence. I think I can help with that, Leo interjected, pulling out his tablet. Several students came to me last week, upset about being mocked in these videos. One of them screen-recorded everything before it was deleted. Reynolds' face darkened as Leo played the videos. There was Mr. Collins, filmed from behind while writing on the whiteboard, with captions mocking his bald spot. There was Miss Patel, the math teacher, with her accent exaggerated through filters. And there I was, teaching poetry, completely unaware I was being recorded, with crude animations added to make me look ridiculous. This is a clear violation of our anti-bullying policy, our acceptable technology use agreement, and possibly state recording consent laws, Reynolds said, his jaw tight. I'm going to need to speak with these students immediately. As if on cue, his secretary's voice came through the intercom. Sir, Amber Davis is here to see her mother. She says it's urgent. Perfect timing, Reynolds replied. Send her in. Amber froze when she entered, her eyes darting between the three of us. Mom, what's going on? Please sit down, Miss Davis, Reynolds said, his voice calm but authoritative. "We need to discuss some concerning behavior." "What behavior?" she asked, but her face had already drained of color. Leo turned his tablet toward her, showing one of the videos with her voice clearly audible in the background. That's private," she stammered. "Nothing posted online is truly private, Amber," I said quietly. "And nothing recorded without consent is acceptable." "You went through my phone?" she accused, turning on me. "No," Reynolds interjected. "These were provided by students who were hurt by your actions." "This is so unfair. Everyone does it." "Not everyone," Leo corrected. "And regardless, it violates multiple school policies that you signed at the beginning of the year." "So what? I'll delete them. I'm sorry, okay?" Amber looked at me, desperation in her eyes. "Mom, please, this isn't a big deal." "It is a big deal," I replied, my voice steady. "Just like mocking your mother at her own dinner table is a big deal." "That was different. That was just a joke between us." "Was it?" "Because it felt like public humiliation. Just like these videos are meant to humiliate your teachers and classmates." "Mrs. Davis," Reynolds interrupted, "the school takes this very seriously. There will be consequences according to our policy." "Like what?" Amber demanded, panic rising in her voice. 2-week suspension, effective immediately, removal from Student Council and National Honor Society, and a permanent note in your disciplinary file which will be visible to colleges." "You can't do that," she cried, turning to me with tears forming. "Mom, tell him he can't do that. This will ruin everything. Princeton won't accept me with this on my record." "Actions have consequences, Amber," I said, the words from Friday night echoing between us. "I warned you." You planned this?" she whispered, realization dawning. "This is your revenge for Friday?" "This isn't revenge. This is accountability for choices you made long before Friday night. The dinner incident just opened my eyes to who you've become." "I hate you," she hissed, tears streaming now. "I'm sorry about Friday, okay? I didn't mean it. I was just showing off. Please don't let this happen." "Your apology isn't about remorse," I said softly. "It's about avoiding consequences. There's a difference." "Miss Davis," Reynolds said firmly, "your mother didn't create this situation. You did, through your own repeated choices to humiliate others." 2 weeks passed slowly. Amber stayed with her father, my ex-husband, during her suspension. He called repeatedly, demanding I fix this situation, but eventually understood when I sent him the videos. On her first day back at school, I waited in the parking lot to drive her home. She slid into the passenger seat without a word. "How was it?" I finally asked as we pulled away from campus. "Horrible," she muttered. "Everyone knows what happened." "That must be difficult." "Diane won't speak to me. Neither will Marcus." "Why not?" "Because they got in trouble too. Not as much as me, but enough. They blame me for not deleting the videos." We drove in silence until I pulled into our driveway. "Are you still mad at me?" she asked, her voice small. "I was never mad, Amber. I was disappointed and hurt. I really am sorry, Mom. About everything." I turned to face her. "I believe you're sorry about the consequences. I'm not sure you understand the real problem." "Which is what?" she asked defensively. "That you developed a pattern of devaluing and humiliating people for entertainment, including your own mother." Leo was waiting on our porch when we got out of the car. Amber groaned. "Is this another intervention?" "No," I replied. "Leo is here because we're starting a new program at school, an anti-bullying initiative focusing on digital citizenship and empathy. You're going to be our first mandatory participant." "For how long?" "The rest of the school year, 3 hours after school, twice weekly." "That's not fair. That's months of punishment." Leo stepped forward. "It's not punishment, Amber. It's rehabilitation. And eventually, you'll be leading sessions for younger students about the impact of online behavior." "Why would I do that?" "Because," I explained, "it's either this or we proceed with formal charges for recording people without consent, which Principal Reynolds has every right to pursue." "You'd press charges against your own daughter?" she asked incredulously. I'd ensure my daughter learns that her actions have real-world implications beyond her social circle, I corrected. Which option would you prefer? She stared at the ground. The program, I guess. Good choice, Leo said. We start tomorrow. I'll pick you up after sixth period. After Leo left, Amber turned to me. Will you ever forgive me? I looked at my daughter, really looked at her, seeing both the child I raised and the young adult she was becoming. Forgiveness isn't what matters here, Amber. What matters is change. Real, lasting change in how you treat people. And if I change, if I really do better, then we'll have a relationship based on mutual respect. But it won't be the same as before. Trust, once broken, never mends exactly the same way. She nodded slowly, seeming to truly understand for the first time. Mom? She asked as we reached the front door. Yes. Your cardigans aren't actually that bad. I gave her a measured look. That's not much of a compliment. I know, I'm still learning. Yes, I agreed as I unlocked the door. You are. Have you ever had to teach someone a difficult lesson about respect? What would you have done in Gwen's position? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories about family dynamics and personal growth.